This Art 302 video takes you through the CAPS document and how it relates to the creative arts. So here, if you turn to page 6 of the CAPS, you can see how the various subject areas are assigned in terms of hours. And here you can see the creative arts is given 2 hours per week from grade R to grade 3. So if you look at page 9, you'll see this quote. The creative arts exposes learners to 4 art forms: dance, drama, music, and the visual arts. So it's quite important that your 2 hours is assigned to all 4 of the art forms. The main purpose of creative arts is to develop learners as creative, imaginative individuals with an appreciation of the arts. I think this is really important. We want our learners to be creative. We want to develop their imagination. And what better way than through music, drama, dance, and visual arts? I think it's interesting that they also point out an appreciation of the arts. So this means you're going to have to play them music so that they come to appreciate it and understand it. With visual arts, you'll have to show them pictures, show them famous paintings and sculptures so that they come to appreciate it. In terms of dance and drama, try to get performers to your school or take your learners on trips to see performances so that they come to appreciate these various art forms. Going on with the quote, it also provides basic knowledge and skills to be able to participate in creative activities. And that's kind of the foundation of what we've done in this course. You now have the basic knowledge and skills of both music and movement that you can impart to your learners so that they can participate in creative activities. Quite important is also the word participate. And we remember that we want the creative arts to be active, to be an active learning experience, not sedentary where learners are sitting down and you're telling them about crotchets, but where you're getting them up and involved and they're experiencing crotchets and participating in the creation of them. Foundation phase learners are inherently creative and play is their natural way of learning in the arts. Really important here, guys. Schools actually stifle creativity. So we need to create opportunities in our classrooms where learners have the opportunity to be creative. Learners should be guided to use their natural inclinations, to use their imagination, manipulate and work with materials, move and make music and tell stories. Again, the emphasis here on activity and participation. Learners should explore and develop their creative ideas based on their personal experiences, using their senses, emotions, and observations. So I think part of what this means is making sure you use things that are relevant and experiences that your learners can relate to. So use things that appeal to their senses, to their emotions, to their observations. Don't be afraid of taking your lessons, your creative art lessons, from things that are interesting and relevant to your learners. The focus of the learning should be on the development of skills, so the skills of music or dance, through enjoyable, experiential processes, rather than on working towards highly polished products on each term. I think there's a danger in schools where the arts is used as a way to market the school, it's used as a way to get the parents into a concert, and you present a highly polished product. Now, I'm not anti these things, and I don't think this document is anti those either, but that cannot be the only thing that you are doing. So rather than the emphasis being on highly polished products in each term, our emphasis of the creative arts should be on the development of skills on an ongoing basis through enjoyable experiential processes. Experiencing, experimenting. So things that the learners are involved in. Working towards highly polished products has its place and is nice, can be a learning experience, but certainly not as valuable as the ongoing arts interactions that you're going to have through the course of the term. The introduction of these creative skills is essential in refining and controlling the gross and fine motor skills. really important for the foundation phase. So things like visual arts are going to develop fine motor skills, music is going to develop fine motor skills and playing instruments, and then of course dance and drama are going to be more involved in the gross motor skills. Creative arts aim to create a foundation for balanced, creative, cognitive, emotional and social development. And we've discussed this in various lectures, how the arts appeals to and enhances the learner's development in these areas. In the curriculum, creative arts is organized in two parallel and complementary streams, visual art and performing arts. The performing arts are dance, drama and music. So of course in this semester we have been involved in the performing arts of dance and music. So just another quote also from page 9. Performing arts in the foundation phase allows learners the opportunity to creatively communicate, dramatize, sing, make music, dance, and explore movement. And this is what we've been doing in the 6th semester. We've made music, we've danced, we've explored music, movement, we've sung, and we have creatively communicated to an audience. So through the performing arts, learners develop their physical skills and their creativity. So in terms of the physical skills, dance, obviously we're using the whole body, but music as well. We're using the body when we play instruments, when we create rhythms. Performing arts stimulates memory, promotes relationships, builds self-confidence and self-discipline. So there are just a few more benefits there. Creative games and skills prepare the body and voice, and games are used as tools for learning skills. Improvise and interpret allows learners to create music, movement, and drama individually and collaboratively. So when you have a look at your CAPS document, you will notice that the performing arts is further divided into creative games and skills, and then into an area called improvise and interpret. And when you look at your CAPS document and you scrutinize it, you will notice that all of the things that they mention in the CAPS document have been covered in this course insofar as music and dance. So you should feel fully capable to teach music and movement in a foundation phase classroom. As already mentioned, the 4 components, dance, music, drama, and visual art. And we want our learners in grades R to 3 to be exposed to all 4 of these. If you want to read further, you can see page 9, and we've just delved into that in the previous 2 quotes. The CAPS document also mentions that where feasible, these art forms can be integrated. Now, for me, I think this is one of the most important things about the arts for you as a foundation phase teacher. We know the foundation phase learners enjoy the creative arts. They like singing, they like dancing, they like moving, they like playing instruments, they like creating rhythms. So why not use that to your benefit as a teacher? If you're going to be teaching a lesson on the ancient Egyptians, for example, why not think about what games the ancient Egyptians played, what music they listened to, what music they performed, what instruments they used, were there any dances that they would do, any cultural movements or dances, and draw on those things to bring the lesson alive for your learners. Here are a couple of other examples of where you could integrate music and dance. So dance can be infused with physical education and music. If you remember, in our listening lesson, we listened to In the Hall of the Mountain King by Grieg. And at that point, we hadn't done movement. But why not get your learners to move to that music as well? And you'll remember it started slowly and softly, and they could be creeping around the classroom. And as the music becomes more frenzied and louder and faster, so their movements move in time with the music. So dance can be infused very effectively with music and also with physical education. So in PE, you are definitely focusing more on the body side of things, but why not bring in the imagination that comes with dance and get them to pretend to be things? So create some kind of integration there. Drama and music can be infused with languages. So things like speeches, oral skills, storytelling, role plays, voice projection through singing. This is what's mentioned in the CAPS document. In terms of music, if you're telling a story, why not write a song to go with that story? Use a piggyback song. If you remember, we spoke about piggyback songs. This is where you choose an existing song like Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and you change the words to go with the story that you're reading. Of course, we also did sound effects, so use sound effects in stories. Ask your learners when it comes to someone knocking on the door to make that sound. They can bang against a table, they can also click with their mouths to make a knocking sound. So that's another way that you can integrate music with languages. Visual arts, music, and dance can be infused with mathematics. So thinking about things like shape, pattern, time, counting, distance, size, direction. Getting them to count up beats is a mathematical exercise. Getting them to create the shapes with their bodies is a way of integrating movement with maths. So making them create triangles with their fingers in groups, or squares or circles. So integration is a way you can really make the subject area come alive, and you can bring the creative arts into different aspects of your classroom. Suggestions for activities have been made for all the components of arts and crafts, but these should not be seen as restricting the teacher's or the learner's own creative ideas. The teacher is free to develop the skills identified in the CAPS document using different activities that better suit the needs of his or her learners in the school context. This is a really important part of the CAPS. You should not feel constrained creatively by what the document tells you what to do. That's what this paragraph is saying. It's saying as long as you still develop the skills that are identified, so as long as you're still meeting the outcomes that are identified in the CAPS, you can actually do anything that you like. So do not see the CAPS as restricting your or your learners' creative ideas. If your learners, and this example actually comes out of the Costa textbook that you got in first year when you did visual art, which you're welcome to look at. If your learners bring in a butterfly that they found on the field at break, and they're all incredibly interested in the butterfly, then why not use the butterfly in your movement lessons? Get them to move like butterflies, get them to create, to move creatively, first of all as a caterpillar, and then the caterpillar going into the cocoon and the chrysalis, and then breaking out of it, becoming the butterfly. They can enact the life cycle in a movement lesson. They can create butterflies in a visual art lesson. They can make butterfly masks out of paper plates in a visual art lesson. So they can create butterfly songs. You could find some butterfly sounding music and they could dance around the classroom. So really thinking of ways that you can tap into your learners' interests, your own interests, and you can tap into the creative arts to bring these things alive. The CAPS document on page 13 says that what we need for the arts, open space. This does not have to be a specific dance classroom or movement or music classroom. It can be the field, it can be the hall. If necessary, it can even be a car park. It can be your classroom with no desks in it. Musical instruments, including found and made. So those are the things like you see in my music cupboard. Those are found instruments, recycled instruments. There is no excuse for not having rhythmic instruments, as I've shown you. If you just keep every Panado bottle that you get and fill it with rice, that is a musical instrument. Audio and audio-visual equipment with a range of suitable music. These days, all you need is a laptop and access to YouTube to get all the music that you need. Charts and posters. Hopefully your school will have some of these, but again, as a teacher, you are also able to make some of these. Variety of props, materials, balls, different sizes and shaped objects, and old clothes. Those are for drama activities, dressing up, and so on. Different size objects can be used in music and movement classes as well. And then finally, visual stimuli for drawing and for construction. That obviously pertains to the visual arts. The life skills curriculum is organized into topics. The use of topics is suggested to integrate the content. So you will have a topic for the week and your content can now integrate with that. Again, while the topics are there, they are certainly not prescriptive. If you think that there's something that is better suited to your learners, you're very welcome to make use of that as a topic. So it says at the bottom here, teachers are also encouraged to choose their own topics should they judge these to be more appropriate. So there's definitely lots of scope for creativity and for following the lead of your learners. So if your learners think something is very interesting, exciting to them, then use it in the classroom. This is to just give you an example of what the CAPS document looks like. So we've got grade R term 1. And as I said, the performing arts is further divided into creative games and skills and into improvise and interpret. So this just gives you an idea of what it looks like. Things like keeping a steady beat, that's pulse, which we did. Developing spatial awareness, we thought about space in our movement class. Warming up and breathing, we did that in our movement classes. Everyday movements, waking up, getting dressed, stretching, curling, twisting, shaking and crossing the midline. If we go back to keeping a steady beat, we've got things like playing rhythmic games, clapping, stamping, percussion using different rhythms and tempos. Exactly what we did in our music course. So getting your learners to perform different rhythms, different tempos, different speeds. Further down, the next outcome, exploring music, movement and voice, focusing on tempo, fast and slow. So how would you use your body to create movements that are slow? How could you use your body to create movements that are fast? Now in music, can we sing a song slowly? Can we sing it fast? If you listen to some examples, are these examples of music that is fast or slow? So thinking of different ways that we could teach concepts such as fast and slow. I'm not going to go discuss any more of it, but you're welcome to look through the CAPS. You'll notice that everything that is mentioned in the CAPS has been dealt with in this course if it pertains to music and movement. In terms of assessment, we just have discussed this already in class. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but the CAPS just says it needs to be continuous. We need to be gathering and collecting evidence of achievement. We suggested either checklists for that or anecdotal records, and you can go back and look at the lecture on assessment to find more information about that. Evaluating the evidence, recording the findings, very important, guys, to keep writing down what you see, and using this information to understand and thereby assist the learner's development in order to improve the process of learning and teaching. In the arts, they advise that we have both formal and informal assessments. So assessment is going to be ongoing and mainly occurs through, and there's a quote, observing learners in an ongoing and planned way, which is exactly what we have discussed. So we want to assess through discussion, role play and demonstration. So a lot of your assessment is going to happen when you're walking around the classroom watching what your learners are doing. Assessment in the creative arts also aims to be supportive. We want to be encouraging and supportive in the holistic development of the learners.